Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. How are you? Hope you all will be fine by the grace of Almighty Allah, and may Allah Pak shower this blessing upon all of you. This is our another lecture on decision making errors and biases. In today's lecture, the learning objectives we will cover, that is decision making errors and biases, and another bias which is known as illusion of control bias. We will discuss it. Although these are the different biases or errors created and affected by our psychological effects and our behaviors, and while making the decisions, these severely affected our decisions. So these are very important to know each and every bias, and that what it is and how it is created, what are the different factors which creates them, and what are the different precautionary measures which we can use to avoid them or to safeguard ourselves. So illusion of control bias we will discuss in detail. Before going to start our lecture properly, firstly we will give a journal review. As you all know that every day we aim to control our lives from avoiding different disasters, different tragedies, to making good things happen. While we know that we can never fully control that what happened to us, because no one knows about the future, and if it will happen, for example, more severely or in a negative, then most of the situations that where we are not in a position to control them, so we feel safer when we believe that we can. So the illusion of control is the belief that we can influence outcomes that are in fact beyond our ability to control. So for example, early illusions of control. Before discussing that what is illusion control bias, first of all we will discuss that what is illusion power. What you say that what is this power? In short, manipulating someone into thinking that they have the power over you, and when in fact you get them to do what you want. And what is illusion control? Illusion of control is the belief that we have influence over random events and are different events which we are powerless. Is an extremely common mental heuristics, you can say. So early illusions of control, as an human, we have always strived to control our environment. So early humans, for example, built shelters to protect themselves from the wind, rain and snow. They fashioned garments to protect themselves from the cold, and headwear to shade them from the heat. So they learned to grow crop to keep their harvest bountiful, and placed walls around their crops to protect them from the predators. So all of these skills were within their control. Yet there was little they could do about weather itself. So therefore, early humans, of course, that they forces the nature in the form of different ceremonies, and they danced, made offerings, and performed sacrifices to appease the mysterious forces controlling the weather. So when the rain came following a ceremony, or when a cold snap broke, they believed that they had persuaded the god to intervene. So they had the illusion of control over their weather. And to this day, some people perform ceremonial dances or cast spells, invoke or lift curses or chase away demons. So risk taking and the illusion of control. One thing most risk takers have in common in the belief that they can control a random or unforeseen event. So I think that regret is normal, for example, and avoiding past mistakes contributes to growth and maturity. So, what's the balance of control? We all feel the need for control, and we don't like to feel the powerless about our ability to perform effectively in a critical situation. So, this contribution to our tendency towards the illusion of control. For example, how does this play out in society at large? So, at the end of this day, a number of our daily behaviors, especially those which involving their super situations, are motivated by the illusion of control. So we keep the different stones or amulet, you can say, which perform the different ceremonies and maintain traditions because we believe that these things will give us more control over random events. But all we know that Allah has the power about the future, that He knows very well that what exactly will be happen in the future. For example, a number of our daily behavior, especially those involving superstitions, are motivated by the illusion of control. We have already discussed that. And so, what's the solution for them? For example, talk to a friend. The people you keep around you are instrumental to the way you navigate your life. Make sure that you talk to someone who support you and can help around you when you feel a loss of control. Second one is the writing. That journaling is a great way to deal with the negative emotions, for such as feeling out of control. Writing things down can help you to understand and deal with such emotions more productively. And also, third one is the start meditating. Meditation can help you understand your emotions better. It also a great quality time to set aside for yourself to gain a better outlook. And the fourth one, then definitely seek professional. If you are someone you know suffer from reckless or addictive behavior, it may be a time to get help. To which definitely psychologically will help him. So, illusion of bias, you can explain that this is the bias, another form of dissonant behavior, you can also say. This describes the tendency of human beings to believe that they can control or at least influence outcomes when in fact they can't. Why we control an illusion of control basically is the tendency for the people to overestimate their ability to control events. For example, if it occurs when someone feels a sense of control over some outcomes and they demonstrably do not influence. And this effect was firstly explored by a psychologist which is known as Alan Langer and has been replicated in many different contexts also. Now, what are the different factors which affect the illusion of control bias and how we can protect ourselves? So, what are the different factors or precautionary measures to help us that how we can beat the illusion of control and make better financial decisions? To achieve true financial decisions or freedom, you should learn how to beat cognitive biases, first of all. And just being aware of the illusion of control puts you in pole position for greater protection. The research study also recommend the following points that remind yourself of the illusion of control before making material decision. Number 2, seek information that contradicts your opinions. And be sensitive to warning signs, because while making decisions, your sixth sense must be sharpened, and if not, then you should evaluate your all the other factors, external factors, which should be dangerous for your decision. So be wary of establishing causal links between your choices and the outcomes of your investment, and definitely establish your appetite for risk before making investment, because no one ignore the risk. Everyone facing different types of risk, and you should know what type of risk are associated with that type of decisions and how you can minimize them. Now, what are the different factors? Number of factors affect the illusion of control. For example, making the effect stronger for some situation and individual, and negligible for others. So these mostly include the familiarity of the situation, and type of outcomes, and the personalities and mood of the people. So the consequence of this sense of control can be both positive or negative. Now, what are the implications for the investors? Following are the different factors that can lead to investment mistakes by investors who are susceptible to illusion of control bias. Definitely, illusion of control bias can lead investors to trade more than is prudent, because researchers have found that traders, especially online traders, believe themselves to possess more control over the outcomes of their investment than they actually do. So an excess of trading results in the end in decreased results. Illusion of control can often lead investors to maintain under diversified portfolios. And researchers have also found that investors hold concentrated positions because they gravitate towards companies over those whose fate they feel some amount of control. So that control proves illusory, you can say illusion control. However, and the lack of diversification hurts the investors' portfolios. Illusion of control bias can cause investors to use limit orders and other such techniques in order to experience a false sense of control over their investment. In fact, the use of these mechanisms most often leads to an overlooked opportunity, or worse, detrimental, or you can also say that unnecessary purchase based on the occurrence of an arbitrary prices. So illusion of control bias contributes in generally, you can say, to investors' overconfidence. So, why control is an illusion? After discussing its definition and explanation and what are the factors, so illusion of control is the tendency of people to overestimate their ability to control events. So, this should be controlled while evaluating different alternatives and making decisions. So, how to overcome the illusion of simplicity while solving problem? Number one, identify the problems. Number two, develop the strategies. Number three, evaluate and refine solution. And if all else fail, ask for guidance definitely. Now, what the advice for the investors in making decisions and facing these different hurdles? So, four advisories that investors can implement to stem the detrimental financial effects of illusion of control. Number one is recognize that successful investing is a probabilistic activity. The first step on the road to recovery from the illusion of control bias is to take a step back and realize how complex are the markets, are the country, and the global capitalism actually is. So even the wisest investors have absolutely no control over the outcomes of the investment that they make. So, and number two, recognize and avoid circumstances that trigger the susceptibility illusion of control. For example, a villager blows his trumpets every day at 6 p.m. and no stampede of elephant ensues. Does the trumpet really keeps the elephant away? What you say? Applying the same concept to investing, just because you have deliberately determined to purchase a stock, do you really control the fate of that stock or the outcomes of that purchase? Rationally, when we talk about logically, it becomes clear that some correlations are arbitrary on what you can logically discern in an arbitrary basis. So the third one point is seek a contrary viewpoint. As And number four is the main records of your transaction biases. You must know about them because once you have decided to move forward with an investment, one of the best ways to keep illusion of control at bay is to maintain records of your transaction, because including reminders spelling out the rationale that underlies each trade. Write down some of the important features of each investment that you have made and make the emphasize on them those attributes that you have determined to be in the favor of the investment success, etc. Now, rationally, we know that returns on long-term investments are not impacted by the immediate term belief, emotions, and impulses that often surrounded financial transaction. Instead, success or lack thereof is usually a result of uncontrollable factors like corporate performance and general economic condition. So, during period of market turmoil, though it can be difficult to keep this in mind, one of the best ways to prevent your biases from affecting your decision is to keep the rational side of your brain engaged as often as possible. So, success in investing ultimately is found by investors who can conquer these daily psychological changes and keep a long term perspective in view at all times. So, if you habitually use a limit order, keep track of your success and failures, so don't worry so much about overpaying by a quarter or an eighth to buy a stock. So if you maintain your position for the long term, paying an extra quarter or eighth of a point will not impact your return. So the illusion of control does not have to take over your life. There are many things you can do to learn how to control and what you can and accept what you can't control. So reach out and get the help you deserve today. Now this was the another bias which is the illusion of control, and you all know very well that in this is the name of life, and we all have to control our lives from avoiding different disaster to make good things happen. So the illusion of control is basically the belief that we can influence those outcomes that are in fact beyond our ability to control. So everyone face this problem, but we have discussed the different precautionary measures through which you can avoid yourself from facing this bias, which severely affect your decision. Thank you so much, my dear students, for hearing me and listening this lecture. Hope you will get a nice understanding, and for further detailed understanding you can read this material from the book which I have already sent you. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.